Yeah, we're gonna make it look yeah. Don't have your attention. Please find your seats.
You're welcome.
All right, 7 o'clock. We're gonna go with our regular meeting. Amy, please call the roll.
Mr. Cost?
Here.
Mr. Hauser?
Here.
Mr. Bermudez?
Here.
Mr. Marmy?
Present.
Mr. Neely?
Here.
Mr. Rath?
Here.
Mr. Rye? Mr. Barker?
Here.
Ms. Blind? Present.
Can you guys keep it quiet out there, please? Present. All right. Would you like to stand for the invocation by Mr. Hauser and then remain standing for the pledge?
Thank you, Mr. President. Let's pray. Lord, we ask you to bless this city. As you well know, we've been discussing some difficult things here this evening. I pray that you help each and every one of us up here, in the audience and the residents of this city, to be keep an open mind with this and be willing to hear both sides of the discussions. And that's what you would want. Lord, I just lift up our safety forces to you, keeping our city safe. I pray your blessing on them for safety. And again, as we progress through the rest of the evening, I just ask your blessing on it. Amen. We have Liam Hollins from our 5th grade at Carson Elementary to lead us in the pledge. Liam, come on up.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States and to the republic for liberty.
Thank you. Next on the agenda is caucus. We have anything that pertains to the agenda tonight?
Mr. President, Mr. Marmy, thank you for the motion to excuse Mr. Glenn.
Second.
Got a motion by Mr. Marmy, second by Mr. Hauser. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Same sign. Next up is minutes of the August 19th meeting 2024. Motion by Mr. Labutus.
Second.
Second by Mr. Hauser. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. That passes. Appointments, there are none this meeting. Reports of standing committees, finance service, capital improvements without objection will be received and filed. Reports from city officials, there are none this meeting. Communication, Chance Pasney, Parks and Cemetery Superintendent, City of Newark Parks Department will be hosting the first fall youth fishing derby on Saturday, September 7th at TJ Evans Family Park. Keith Faber, Auditor, State of Ohio, City of Newark, single audit January 1st, 2023 through December 31st, 2023. Next up, we have a public hearing. 24-18A. Amy, please read the public hearing.
Hey, Jeff, speak up.
Okay.
Ordinance number 24-18A by Mr. Cost. An ordinance amending portions of the current articles of the zoning code of the city of Newark, Ohio, adopted May 5th, 2009 by ordinance 08-33A and September 5th, 2023 by ordinance 23-22A, and implementing additional articles of the zoning code of the city of Newark, Ohio.
Okay, you've heard the public hearing. We're going to open it up. Is there anybody here to speak for or against the public hearing? Please state your name and address for the record, please.
Hi, Jonathan Lang, 297 Auburn Drive. A little weird to be back on this side of things. I just wanted to speak to this as something that we've been working on for quite some time, and unfortunately, just one meeting too late, wasn't able to finish it, but what you got in front of you is the original zoning proposal where we had the maps laid out with a couple of edits from the planning commission. One is to remove dispensaries from the industrial zones. So those are those big dark gray areas you may remember on the map. Another is to add a 2-mile buffer between dispensaries. So, everybody worries about having too high density. It'll prevent that. And then the third was a recommendation from our law director as we went through the planning commission process to add a prohibition on drive-through service. Didn't seem like that was something that our current dispensaries were really interested in, so it seemed like something that would be a good limitation going forward, given what they're selling. Probably doesn't make sense for drive-through. So just wanted to kind of lay those out and urge you to send that on as the planning commission. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else here to speak for or against public hearing? All right, we will close the public hearing. Amy, please read it again.
Ordinance number 24-18A by Mr. Cost. An ordinance amending portions of the current articles of the zoning code of the city of Newark, Ohio, adopted May 5th, 2009 by ordinance 08-33A and September 5th, 2023 by ordinance 23-22A, and implementing additional articles of the zoning code of the city of Newark, Ohio.
You've heard the reading of 24-18A. What is your wish?
Mr. President,
Ms. Blind?
I'd like to make a motion to table ordinance 24
Point of order. It's not on the table until there's a motion and a second.
Okay.
Mr. President,
Mr. Rath?
I'd like to make a motion to adopt 24-18A.
Got a motion?
Second.
Got a motion by Mr. Marmy, second by Mr. Rath. Do we have any discussion?
Yes, Mr. President, I would like to make a motion to table ordinance 24-18A.
Okay, we got a motion now by Ms. Blind to table 24-18A. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Cost. Amy, please call the roll.
Mr. Cost?
Wait. Do we have any discussion? Yeah.
Point of order, do we need to vote on the already established motion on the floor or not?
No. Go ahead, Mr. Rath, sorry.
I'm just like to ask for discussion because I'd like to know why you're tabling it. Before we vote to table.
Can I speak to that?
Sure.
Yeah, thank you. When this was brought to planning commission, many council members did not get to attend that event, nor go through thoroughly what is presented before us, as well as there are some new things to consider. If you look back at Article 66, we get deeper into cultivators. Honestly, we need to look at this more as a community, as I haven't had a lot of time actually to study what impact the cultivators have on a community, nor what do we need to make them successful? Do we need more law enforcement? What security do we need? What security will they provide? Again, is what exterior businesses will be involved? And myself as a council member, I would just like to have a deeper look into that and how it would impact Newark, as well as have other council members thoroughly examine what's set before us.
Anybody else?
Mr. President.
Mr. Marmy?
Yeah, this zoning has been out there and been worked on for quite a while. Everybody has had ample time to provide their input. And, you know, if there are concerns, we need to get our zoning in place and enforced. I don't see the need to further do research that, you know, and not only that, they're tabling an uncertain date. So therefore, you know, we have to have the zoning in place in order to impact. This has to do with where businesses can be located, what's for certain types of businesses. So I don't see the need to table at this point. If there's further research or amendments that need to be made to our zoning codes in the future, we have the opportunity to do that. And so I believe that we need to get this zoning in place. So then the dispensaries know exactly where and how they can operate. And it's just gonna be sorry. Thanks.
Anybody else?
Mr. President, I guess it's more of a clarification question in terms of operations. Is it possible to modify that motion to include a date certain, as in the next council meeting, for this to be reviewed as kind of a compromise between the two? Is that possible to modify that? And if yes,
Do you want to make that motion? Yeah.
is that okay? Well, I guess then I would make a motion to table for a date certain as of the next council meeting.
I would second that.
Okay, got a motion by Mr. Howell, second by Ms. Blind. To table it to the next council meeting, which will be September the 16th.
Point of order. I guess I'm just confused. We've got three things that is. A motion out there. The issue to be tabled.
Actually, Ms. White can just modify her motion. It doesn't have to be a separate motion. She can modify that.
So I'd be willing to make a motion to modify that as not indefinitely, but contingent upon the next council meeting.
Oh, second.
You can't speak.
We can't hear you.
Okay, you can't speak.
All she's doing is modifying her
Yeah.
original motion.
Okay.
It's not a separate motion.
All right, any others? Okay, Amy, please call the roll.
Mr. Cost?
Yeah.
Mr. Hauser?
Yes.
Mr. Labutus?
Yes.
Mr. Marmy?
No.
Mr. Neely?
Yes.
Mr. Rath?
No,
Mr. Ryan? Mr. Barker?
Yes.
Ms. Blind?
Yes,
Mr. Shu?
Yes.
So we have 7 yeses and 2 noes, so we will bring that back up the next meeting. Next up, we have comments from citizens. This is your time to speak. I'm asking you to have 3 minutes, your name and address. Do we have anybody tonight? Mr. Babcock.
Jerry Babcock, 67 Philmont Avenue. First of all, I want to commend the parties that were up here at the last meeting. You guys have done some heat. You have really kept your composure. Thank you. You are better people for it. Secondly, Mr. Barker, welcome home. With that, I'm done. Until next time.
Anybody else?
The gentleman right here, he's a newbie.
Come on up.
I'll go in first.
Name is Ted Cobb, 246 Mile Street. No, Jeff Harris, Doug Marmy, before the people built out. I've got a complaint about the bridge. It was a new bridge that was put in a mile of 12th Street last year in September and October. I've been chasing this pony for about a year now. And talked to city engineer Moorhead, Dave Moorhead. And he referred me to the ODOT. And ODOT referred me back to the city, and the city referred me back to ODOT. So I see there's a round table there, I don't know where that. So anyhow, I called the core for the, via ODOT, to talk to Steve Miller. And got a little upset with him, but he says, hey, I'm referring it back to the mortgage. And, so that's where we are. The problem is, when they built the bridge a year ago, replaced the bridge a year ago, they raised the channel in the bill. Correct, about 15 to 18 inches high. Now, most of you probably know already that the water doesn't run uphill. But apparently, some of these engineers think they can make it run uphill. But what has happened is it just goes so far and then it builds up with mud and backs upstream. On that stream. Builds up, backs up, upstream, upstream. That's my complaint. And Moorhead said that he would take care of the problem, and that was a year ago. You know, the same about 2 weeks ago. And I hired a guy to come in there and clean the mud out, so the mosquitoes were awful. There's no water down past the footbridge. Does everybody know where I'm talking about? Yeah. But there was no water down past the footbridge. There was 6 inches of water laying in the channel right where I was. The mosquitoes were awful. So I went up to the water to the health department up there, and they gave me some hockey pucks to throw in there to get rid of the mosquitoes. And then I hired a guy to come in there and blow out the mud, and get some of the rocks out of there. But I like for the council to talk with Brian Moorhead, have a meeting on this, see what we can do to get that bridge opened up. It's always flowed good. I put concrete in there, I put the walls up in the early 90s. It ran smooth for years, and now the bridge thing is just a disaster. That's all I have. One of those things. I was down here about a year ago, 2 years ago, so I complained about we have an ordinance. Can't leave your trash cans on the sidewalk after they pick up the trash, you have 24 hours, 12 hours, I don't remember what it was. But if anybody know where Fairfield Avenue is? Right down Fairfield Avenue. They're there. I've complained to the department over there. And remember who's in charge of there. Anyhow, they said, well, we don't know the vendors who pick up there, so we can't talk to the vendors. I said, you don't talk to the vendors, you talk to the owner. He is responsible for the vendors. They pick it up, they're trying to pick it up, put it back, leave. The homeowners. We have a problem. They said nothing they can do. That's all I have. Anybody have any questions for me?
Thank you, sir. Come on up, man.
Thank you.
Richard Boland Smith, 237 Violet Court. Last time I was here, one of the topics I brought up was about kratom, which is a drug that has been killing people. But unfortunately it's uncontrolled. That is spelled Kratom. It was written wrongly in the minutes. And I'd like to see that corrected. But since then, I have found out that over 16 countries throughout the world have made that illegal in their country, or have made it a controlled substance. In our country, and I found a number of articles, including the original ones, podcasts and that sort of thing, on it, where it's been known to kill people. And it did turn out that the other drug that I had mentioned is simply another name for the same drug. I do have information if you're interested on what some other cities are doing in terms of controlling this deadly substance. Which is known to be, addictive. If you're interested. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else like to speak? Come on up now.
My name is Ruby Bolts. I live at 650 Mount Vernon Road. It's more of a statement. Beginning of school year last year, my daughter was attacked during the only bus. When I called the school and the police, I was told there's nothing we can do. This school year, I was told that there is no busing for my daughter. Once again, nothing I can do. I actually called, pull in, or I tried to message him. I did talk to Mr. Bill Cost. Thank you for that. Once again, it was out of your guys' scope. Chicken scratching my 15-minute break. There was 12 fights at the high school. I called the board about policy. Big surprise. I was told there's nothing they can do. Me and my brother, however, as citizens, I'll tell you what we've done. We subpoenaed bus videos. We subpoenaed disciplinary action, and we got a CPO on the child that attacked my daughter. We also made it to where police had to make reports on children's behavior as a course of conduct. FOIA in school, if you guys know what that is a freedom of information act, all right? During that, found that the school board eats out about 5 times a month. But of course, they can't do anything about busing, right? We have 53 buses, 52 bus drivers. 36 of those buses are used for elementary, 26 for middle school. You guys say you can't do anything, make them do something. You guys can. If I can, you can. They just don't want to. There's adequate busing and bus drivers for them not to be busing children. They have to walk in the rain, the cold. Do any of you guys walk 22 to 44 minutes there and back and then walk all over the school? Seriously, if citizens can do it, let's get some help and advocate for these children, because I shouldn't do it alone. My brother does have a statement to help with some of the things. Craig Norman, if you guys are ready for him.
Thank you.
For your time.
What's her name? We couldn't hear it.
Jody Holt.
Sir, did you want to say something?
First and foremost, my name is Craig Allen Norman. I live at 650 Mount Vernon Road, Newark, Ohio. Lifelong citizen. When church used to have, and when you remember me, I remember you. And my niece, she got us all, but where I came in with this. When we asked for the school or your guys' help, it was out of your scope, which we see that. And it's sad that our state law has made the Board of Education technically a puppet. They answer to the Board of Education, the school board does, and they shouldn't be answering to the city. There's nothing we can do for that, but what we can do, there's a lot of dangers in our city. I know earlier you all was talking about the homeless situation. A lot of years I went down that riverbank and took food before Reverend Sowers took over the street ministry stuff. And I felt bad for him. Because I could have been in that situation. Many of us are one step away from making mistakes and put us down. The problem with the situation with the school buses. I put in the high school's address, 314 Granville Street, in the Lincoln County Sheriff's Sex Offenders search. Appalling. So I don't get it wrong. Appalling to me. There were 7 registered sex offenders en route to our high school. Now, of these, there was 5 that were pre-AWA, which was before they did the tier 1, tier 2, 3 stuff, so I don't know what their tiers were. One was a tier 2, and when I looked this up, I guess this is like a series offender. Normally predator on children. The other was a tier 1. Now, the tier 2 lives on Hall Street. I didn't bring their name, I don't call them out like that. However, scary to me was there are also 10 what they call unmappable, meaning they don't have an address to track them. Of those 10, 6 are tier 2 offenders. These are serious sexual predators. One is a tier 3, which is really bad. So much to normally battery, rape, murder type of things. One was a pre-AWA and the other 2 are tier 1. Which leads me to the next thing. With our open borders, and we do have sanctuary cities not too far from us here in Ohio. I'm not bringing in those politics. But there's a high probability that we have cartel human traffickers near our homes. There's a high probability. The Department of Justice reports that the majority of children that are in the human sex trade trafficking are ages 14 to 17. Ironically, that's high school. Is that a coincidence? I don't believe so. They are abducted between the hours of 6 a.m. and 8 a.m. and 2 p.m. and 5 p.m. Again, ironically, this is the time that our children are walking to school. I, for one, personally, would rather line up all these sexual predators than just shoot them. And that's my opinion.
Amen.
Okay, because we don't hurt women and children if we're a man. The Attorney General, Dave Yost, reports in Ohio, there are 17,000 missing children every year. That's kind of scary too. However, 85% are found normally safe, unscathed, and has been like a family abduction thing, parental. But that still leaves 15%, or about 2,550 children missing. I would infer that those children were kidnapped, and probably among the statistics were the 14 to 17-year-olds that are in human trafficking. I looked up some things. Mr. Koss, I really appreciate you talking with my sister. Colton isn't here today. I'm kind of disappointed he didn't respond to her. Cities are able to make where people that are on the register are more restricted than what state law is. That is in your all's purview. If we cannot fight the school board to ensure that our 14 to 17-year-olds are getting transported, when there's 58 buses total that I counted. Now they said there was what, 53
buses
running, but we counted 58 and we went down and took a video, and they have 52 drivers. It's not in my power to make them change because of state law 3327, which I have drafted a constitutional judicial review that it causes disparity for high school children. We will be filing that in the Ohio State Supreme Court. Now, the problem with that is it will probably do away with busing for all. I don't want to do that. I do not want to do that. So in our purview, what we can do for our Newark children is restrict where these sexual predators can live further away from schools, further away from our parks, further away from where they can harm our kids. Because the next time, if somebody hurts my niece while she's walking to school, I'm going to be in prison for life. And I'll gladly take that, and God can judge me. I ask you to look into making it stricter on the pedophiles, where they can live. You're allowed to by state law, please do something to help protect something in you guys' power. That's in our power. Because our children are the future. When you and I were growing up, Dad, we could walk anywhere in the city, man. Everybody knew everybody. You know, it wasn't like, it's not like that now. We got drugs on every corner. We got sex offenders with no addresses. It's dangerous. It's dangerous. Somebody's got to step up and care. Thank you.
I'll allow this one.
I just wanted a clarification. Are you saying that none of our high school students have access to buses?
They have a cluster bus. And in the north end, the bus stop is at Derby Downs and 21st Street. And then it goes down Derby Downs and down, what is that, King? The King. And goes over to Londondale, out by the college, and then over to the high school. The south end, they've got it really well covered. The east end, they've got it really well covered. The west end, not so much, and the north, Mr. Colton's ward, other than Derby Downs, there's not. That puts them still walking almost a mile.
Hillview has a bus now.
Hillview has a bus stop up north too, sorry. Sorry about that, sorry about that. So there are some gaps along that way. So we asked them to put in a couple free buses. No. That bus coming from Daniels to Derby Downs, or from Daniels to Hillview, you couldn't put a couple stops in. They hit behind state law. I think it's time that all of us stop hiding behind revised code and do what's in our power to do. And that is to protect what's ours. And what's ours is the children of our community. I love Newark, Ohio. I have left here and tried to go, but I've always come home. I've always tried to do what was good here. I mean, I made some mistakes. God knows I tried. Raised by my grandparents who didn't know my sister. I knew she was there. But we met later on as adults and, you know, I care about her. And I definitely care about the babies. I mean, my children are older. My daughter, I think, may have spoke on the issue with the drugs. She has twin grandsons. They're eventually going to be in high school.
Okay, thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Anybody else at this time? All right. Come on.
Probably not 7258 Pennsylvania. Feel like I kind of found out about the sleeping on the streets discussion by mistake. I don't know how people find out about these things if they're not maybe on Facebook or something, but it's, to me, it's kind of horrifying that we're talking about such a big problem and it's boiled down to the question, do we arrest them or not? I mean, I don't want to see people in unfortunate circumstances. I have a family member who has mental illness. I mean, we all have a reason for having, you know, opinions on this matter. I mean, is there going to be more? Are we literally, I mean, it just feels like, and nothing against anybody here, but it feels like politics as usual, where a few people with representation of what, 1,000% are here to discuss it, and we're not talking about ideas, you know, what can be done, or even something that says, here's how much it would cost, and put that in front of people. There's not one option. One option, yes, is to arrest people. Does anybody think that's the best option? I don't think so. But also, does anybody want to live in San Francisco? So we saw it go too far. And then what happens is people who are on the street are not protected. So it's not doing anybody any favors to say, yeah, go ahead and live on the street, because now you're just kind of undocumented, out of the way, and nothing's happening for you. You don't have that account. How many do we actually need to house? You know, what actually needs to be done? So it feels to me, and granted, I don't know the work that goes on behind the scenes politically, and each of you are have your own share in that. But it seems like there should be a bigger conversation here. Because we don't want unsafe conditions like this gentleman was talking about for his kids. The same thing with people on the street. And it's not just one solution. So what scares me is that we would walk away from this and you folks, being human and humane, want to vote against criminalizing people being on the streets. And I don't blame you. So then what do we do so that we don't go down a path that's really destructive? And we've watched it play out in other cities. So it's kind of like if we're going to take the time to get people together, we need to be able to hear what everybody's saying. And the majority of the people in the back, but I was straining, so it just feels like there could be more done. And maybe that's from the standpoint of someone who's just not involved and doesn't know. I mean, I'm new to Newark. I'm not a lifer. I have in-laws that have been here forever. I think it's a wonderful area. I don't want to see it destroyed with good intentions. Or, it's just, there's two extremes. I wouldn't want to see either one taken. And quite honestly, I feel like that's the voice of most people. They want to see hopeless cared for. It demonstrates who we are as a society. But we also don't want to have dangerous situations and not learn from other examples. So my hope walking away from this would be that there's more of a discussion that happens here. So if it's a no vote on criminalizing it, that I don't want to see someone who's unfortunate be arrested, but then what comes next? It seems fair to say, here's what it would cost. Here's the estimated homeless today and projections, let's say 5 years. And here's the money it would take for homeowners. A real conversation, real consideration with real solutions presented. I'd love to see that. I'd be part of it. And then maybe a little more advertising for this kind of stuff. I know I got a leaflet on my door when there was a vote to change the businesses that were allowed on Hudson Avenue. I came to that, I really didn't get good answers. So this is only fair.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else? Mr. President, sorry, we could not hear her name. Could you give us your name again, please?
Sure. Follow Watson.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, we are going to go to the agenda ordinance on the first reading, 24-29.
Ordinance number 24-29 by Mr. Marmy, Mr. Rath, and Ms. Blind. An ordinance to provide for the issuance of not to exceed $730,000 of bonds for the purpose of paying a portion of the cost of burial of overhead electric cable and telephone lines, including easement, acquisition, and alley repairs, and all necessary appurtenances thereto by retiring notes previously issued in anticipation of such bonds, matters related to such bonds, and declaring an emergency.
The reading of 24-29, what is your wish?
Mr. President,
Mr. Marmy?
make a motion to adopt ordinance 24-29.
Second.
Got a motion by Mr. Marmy, second by Mr. Hauser. Do you have any discussion? Amy, please call the roll.
Mr. Cost?
Yes.
Mr. Hauser?
Yes.
Mr. Labutus?
Yes.
Mr. Marmy?
Yes.
Mr. Neely?
Yes.
Mr. Rath?
Yes.
Mr. Ryan? Mr. Barker?
Yes.
Ms. Blind?
Yes.
Mr. Shu?
Yes. 24-29 passes 9-0. Next up is 24-30.
Ordinance number 24-30 by Mr. Marmy, Mr. Rath, and Ms. Blind. An ordinance to provide for issuance of not to exceed $890,000 bonds for the purpose of paying a portion of the cost of constructing the fourth and main roundabout by retiring notes previously issued in anticipation of such bonds, matters related to such bonds, and declaring an emergency.
For the reading of 24-30, what is your wish?
Mr. President,
Mr. Marmy?
make a motion to adopt ordinance 24-30.
Second.
Got a motion by Mr. Marmy, second by Mr. Hauser. Do you have any discussion? Amy, please call the roll.
Mr. Cost?
Yes.
Mr. Hauser?
Yes.
Mr. Labutus?
Yes.
Mr. Marmy?
Yes.
Mr. Neely?
Yes.
Mr. Rath?
Yes.
Mr. Ryan? Mr. Barker?
Yes.
Ms. Blind?
Yes.
Mr. Shu?
Yes. 24-30 passes 9-0. Next up is 24-31.
Ordinance number 24-31 by Mr. Marmy, Mr. Rath, and Ms. Blind. An ordinance to provide for the issuance of not to exceed $2,130,000 of bonds for the purpose of paying a portion of the cost of the proposed multiple road, bridge, and bike path improvements and providing additional funds for such improvements by retiring notes previously issued in anticipation of such bonds, matters related to such bonds, and declaring an emergency.
Further reading 24-31, what is your wish?
Mr. President,
Mr. Marmy,
make a motion to adopt ordinance 24-31.
Second.
got a motion by Mr. Marmy, second by Mr. Hauser. Do we have any discussion? Amy, please call the roll.
Mr. Cost?
Yes.
Mr. Hauser?
Yes.
Mr. Labutus?
Yes.
Mr. Marmy?
Yes.
Mr. Neely?
Yes.
Mr. Rath?
Yes.
Mr. Ryan? Mr. Barker?
Yes.
Ms. Blind?
Yes.
Mr. Shu?
Yes. 24-31 passes 9-0. Next up is 24-32.
Ordinance number 24-32 by Mr. Marmy, Mr. Rath, and Ms. Blind. An ordinance to provide for the issuance of not to exceed $840,000 of bonds for the purpose of paying a portion of the cost of ice rink roof replacement by retiring notes previously issued in anticipation of such bonds, matters related to such bonds, and declaring an emergency.
Further reading of 24-32, what is your wish?
Mr. President,
Mr. Marmy,
make a motion to adopt ordinance 24-32.
Second.
got a motion by Mr. Marmy, second by Mr. Hauser. Do we have any discussion? Amy, please call the roll.
Mr. Cost?
Yes.
Mr. Hauser?
Oh, yes.
Mr. Labutus?
Yes.
Mr. Marmy?
Yes.
Mr. Neely?
Yes.
Mr. Rath?
Yes.
Mr. Ryan? Mr. Barker?
Yes.
Ms. Blind?
Yes.
Mr. Shu?
Yes.
24-32 passes 9-0. Next up is 24-33.
Ordinance number 24-33 by Mr. Marmy, Mr. Rath, and Ms. Blind. An ordinance to provide for the issuance of not to exceed $2,590,000 of bonds for the purpose of paying a portion of the cost of Tamarack 40th Street upgrade stormwater sewer improvements comprised of property and or easement acquisition, utility relocation, storm sewer installation, replacement and repair, together with pavement, sidewalk, and grading improvements and all necessary appurtenances thereto by retiring notes previously issued in anticipation of such bonds, matters related to such bonds, and declaring an emergency.
Heard the reading of 24-33. What is your wish?
Mr. President,
Mr. Marmy,
make a motion to adopt ordinance 24-33.
Second.
got a motion by Mr. Marmy, second by Mr. Hauser. Do we have any discussion? Amy, please call the roll.
Mr. Cost?
Yeah.
Mr. Hauser?
Yes.
Mr. Labutus?
Yes.
Mr. Marmy?
Yes.
Mr. Neely?
Yes.
Mr. Rath?
Yes.
Mr. Ryan? Mr. Barker?
Yes.
Ms. Blind?
Yes.
Mr. Shu?
Yes.
24-33 passes 9-0. Next up is 24-34.
Ordinance number 24-34 by Mr. Marmy, Mr. Rath, and Ms. Blind. An ordinance to provide for the issuance of not to exceed $3,170,000 of bonds for the purpose of paying a portion of the cost of initial water systems improvements and all necessary appurtenances thereto by retiring notes previously issued in anticipation of such bonds, matters related to such bonds, and declaring an emergency.
Heard the reading of 24-34. What is your wish?
Mr. President,
Mr. Marmy,
make a motion to adopt ordinance 24-34.
Second.
got a motion by Mr. Marmy, second by Mr. Hauser. Do we have any discussion? Amy, please call the roll.
Mr. Cost?
Yes.
Mr. Hauser?
Yes.
Mr. Labutus?
Yes.
Mr. Marmy?
Yes.
Mr. Neely?
Yes.
Mr. Rath?
Yes.
Mr. Ryan? Mr. Barker?
Yes.
Ms. Blind?
Yes.
Mr. Shu?
Yes. 24-34 passes 9-0. Next up is 24-35.
Ordinance number 24-35 by Mr. Marmy, Mr. Rath, and Ms. Blind. An ordinance consolidating up to 6 bond issues of the city of Newark, Ohio, establishing the terms of such consolidated bond issue and declaring an emergency.
Further reading of 24-35. What is your wish?
Mr. President,
Mr. Marmy,
make a motion to adopt ordinance 24-35.
Second.
got a motion by Mr. Marmy, second by Mr. Hauser. Do we have any discussion? Amy, please call the roll.
Mr. Cost?
Yes.
Mr. Hauser?
Yes.
Mr. Labutus?
Yes.
Mr. Marmy?
Yes.
Mr. Neely?
Yes.
Mr. Rath?
Yes.
Mr. Ryan? Mr. Barker?
Yes.
Ms. Blind?
Yes.
Mr. Shu?
Yes.
24-35 passes 9-0. Next up is resolutions on the second reading, 24-66.
Resolution number 24-66 by Mr. Rath, Mr. Marmy, Mr. Cost, Ms. Blind, and Mr. Neely. A resolution authorizing and directing the Director of Public Service for the city of Newark, Ohio, to enter into a cooperative construction agreement with Owens Corning Insulation Systems LLC, subject to the appropriation of funds for the purpose of constructing a new bridge at Riverside Drive.
Heard the reading of 24-66. What is your wish?
Mr. President,
Mr. Rath,
make a motion to adopt 24-66.
Second.
Got a motion by Mr. Raff, second by Mr. Hauser. Got any discussion? Amy, please call the roll.
Mr. Cost?
Yes.
Mr. Hauser?
Yes.
Mr. Labutus?
Yes.
Mr. Marmy?
Yes.
Mr. Neely?
Yes.
Mr. Rath?
Yes.
Mr. Ryan? Mr. Barker?
Yes.
Ms. Blind?
Yes.
Mr. Shu?
Yes. 24-66 passes 9-0. Next up is 24-69.
Resolution number 24-69 by Mr. Marmy, Mr. Cost, Mr. Neely, Mr. Rath, and Ms. Blind. A resolution appropriating monies for current expenses of the municipal corporation.
Further reading of 24-69, what is your wish?
Mr. President,
Mr.
make
Marmy,
a motion to adopt resolution 24-69.
Second.
got a motion by Mr. Marmy, second by Mr. Hauser. Any discussion? Amy, please call the roll.
Mr. Cost?
Yes.
Mr. Hauser?
Yes.
Mr. Labutus?
Yes.
Mr. Marmy?
Yes.
Mr. Neely?
Yes.
Mr. Rath?
Yes.
Mr. Ryan? Mr. Barker?
Yes.
Ms. Blind?
Yes.
Mr. Shu?
Yes. 24-69 passes 9-0. Next up is 24-70.
Resolution number 24-70 by Mr. Rath, Mr. Cost, Mr. Marmy, Mr. Neely, and Ms. Blind. A resolution authorizing and directing the Director of Public Service to enter into a new management agreement with the Newark Sports and Events Commission, Inc. to operate the Lou and Gibrees Ice Arena and pickleball courts.
Further reading of 24-70, what is your wish?
Mr. President,
Mr. Rath?
make a motion to adopt 24-70.
Second.
Got a motion by Mr. Rath, second by Mr. Cost. We have any discussion? Amy, please call the roll.
Mr. Cost?
Yes.
Mr. Hauser?
Yes.
Mr. Labutus?
Yes.
Mr. Marmy?
Yes.
Mr. Neely?
Yes.
Mr. Rath?
Yes.
Mr. Ryan? Mr. Barker?
Yes.
Ms. Blind?
Yes.
Mr. Shu?
Yes. 24-70 passes 9-0. Next up is resolutions on the first reading. 24-71.
Resolution number 24-71 by Mr. Rath, Mr. Marmy, and Mr. Cost. A resolution authorizing Newark Development Partners to act as agent for the city of Newark for the sale of certain parcels of property and authorizing the Director of Public Service to enter into a memorandum of understanding with Newark Development Partners governing the sale and distribution of proceeds.
24-71 will be held until our next meeting, which will be September the 16th. Next up is 24-72 CI.
Resolution number 24-72 by Mr. Shu, Mr. Cost, Mr. Marmy, Ms. Blind, and Mr. Rath. A resolution appropriating monies for current expenses of the municipal corporation.
24-72 will be held until our next meeting, which will be September 16th. Next up is 24-73.
Resolution number 24-73 by Mr. Marmy, Ms. Blind, Mr. Cost, and Mr. Rath. A resolution appropriating monies for current expenses of the municipal corporation.
24-73 will be held until our next meeting, which will be September the 16th. And our last one tonight is 24-74 expedite.
Resolution number 24-74 expedite by Mr. Marmy, Ms. Blind, Mr. Cost, and Mr. Rath. A resolution appropriating monies for current expenses of the municipal corporation.
Heard the reading of 24-74. What is your wish?
Mr. President,
Mr. Marmy,
make a motion to waive the 2-day reading rule of resolution 24-74.
Second.
got a motion by Mr. Marmy, second by Mr. Hauser to waive the 2-day reading rule. Amy, please call the roll.
Mr. Cost?
Yes.
Mr. Hauser?
Yes.
Mr. Labutus?
Yes.
Mr. Marmy?
Yes.
Mr. Neely?
Yes.
Mr. Rath?
Yes.
Mr. Ryan? Mr. Barker?
Yes.
Ms. Blind?
Yes.
Mr. Shu?
Yes. 2-day reading rule has been waived. What is your wish?
Thank you, Mr. President. Make a motion to adopt resolution 24-74.
Second.
Got a motion by Mr. Marmy, second by Mr. Hauser to adopt. Do we have any discussion? Amy, please call the roll.
Mr. Cost?
Yes.
Mr. Hauser?
Yes.
Mr. Labutus?
Yes.
Mr. Marmy?
Yes.
Mr. Neely?
Yes.
Mr. Rath?
Yes.
Mr. Ryan? Mr. Barker?
Yes.
Ms. Blind?
Yes.
Mr. Shu?
Yes. 24-74 passes 9-0. That completes our ordinance tonight. Amy, you got through the. Citizen comments. Anybody to speak? Name and address, about 3 minutes, please.
Linda Lamontagne, 538 Danner Drive. Why did we approve money to fix the roof on the ice rink? Just out of curiosity.
Oh, someone will answer that in their comments. We can't.
Okay, all right, that's my question.
Okay, thank you. Come on up, man.
Hi, I spoke earlier. My name is Caitlin Curtis. I've been homeless for 3 years since my husband died. I spoke earlier about, people telling us that we can't sleep on park benches or public places or private places. We can't, the homeless can't, don't have no access to public bathrooms at night to use the restroom. Me personally, I have seizures. I take 1,500 milligrams of Keppra and a mental 200 milligrams of mental a day. I've had 4 and 5 seizures this week. I'm paralyzed in a car accident due to a seizure. I've been blind from glaucoma almost 2 years now. I've been homeless since my husband died. My SSI is pending. All I want to know is how come homeless people would be getting arrested and going to jail just because we want to find a place to sleep, or find a place to eat, or be able to have housing. Like I said, I only get 934 month widow's benefits, and I got no place to go. And putting me in jail ain't going to solve it, because I'm just going to sit there like a bump on the log anyway, and because I can't work and I ain't got nothing to do. Or putting me in jail ain't gonna help me. So I just wondering how you're gonna fix helping our homeless people so we can get off the streets, because I waited 3 years.
Thank you. Anybody else? City officials? Law director?
Thank you. Lot to take in tonight, lot to think about. Appreciate everybody's comments tonight. I do want to welcome back Spencer Barker. Come back, Friday night, come back. That'll pass, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
I'd like to welcome Spencer back too, and almost like you haven't been gone. I appreciate everybody's comments this evening. That's what kind of guides us as we make decisions. Citizens' comments and citizens' input's important. There is some inaccurate information about the budget of the city and monies in the city, and those are always good things to take in a little bit. Columbus brings in at least $2 for every dollar we bring in citizens. So you know that. The high income tax that low income paying citizens have to pay. We're at 1.75%, they're at 2.5%. So we could charge more, but that's hard on people too that have low income. So you have to think about that a little bit. Columbus we bring in 28 million in income tax. Columbus brings in 900 billion a year. Now they're a bigger city than us, but relatively speaking, it's enormously off balance. It's an amazing amount of money difference. That gives them the latitude to do things. The Community Shelter Board over in Columbus oversees homelessness. Their budget a year is $55 million. And I would say you wouldn't go over there and say there is no homelessness, so it's not solving it. But we're always looking, it's one of the hardest things we've had to deal with. And we appreciate people's input. We want to find solutions and helps. We appreciate everyone that helps with homelessness. That's critically important, and it does. We also have to look ways. We have people, there are good citizens, there are bad citizens, there are homelessness, there are home people that commit crimes. It does happen. So to throw all homeless in one bucket is not fair, and we don't do that. They're just as diverse as we all are in a lot of different ways. So we have to look at, try to help those ones that want to help themselves and try to make it better. And that's what the Community Shelter Board does. 15 of us went over several years ago and really analyzed the entire situation. And so much it was based, but they have that money. They have large corporations that donate that money, which is phenomenal. We don't have that here, and that's our top one, and tough nut to crack. So with that, we appreciate your input, and we'll continue to work on it. So with that, I'll pass.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Mr. Cost?
Well, first of all, I'd also like to thank everyone who came tonight to speak on the homeless issue. Add to what the mayor says, something I didn't mention earlier, we can all be grateful that we have so many nonprofits and community groups that do everything they can to help. I cannot imagine what the city of Newark would be like if we did not have those groups. There are, 10 I'm sitting here writing names out of. And without them, we would be, our homeless population would be 2 or 3 times what it is now. And I don't know what we would do. So there's a lot of help out in the community. And I'd also like to welcome Spencer back. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you. Mr. Hauser?
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to welcome Spencer back as well. Congratulations on getting back with my council. I thank everybody for coming out too. I know we'll still hear from people, in the next, committee, but I appreciate everyone giving feedback on the issue and, giving us some more insight. I appreciate that. With that, I'll pass it.
Thank you, Mr. Lewis.
Thank you, Mr. President. I will echo what everyone else has said. Thank you to those that came out this evening to give us some insights on the homeless community. It is something that us as the council and the city, I believe as a whole, has tried to work on over at least the past 4 or 5 years, if not before that. And I appreciate the passionate discussion. I do appreciate the respectfulness that everyone showed during the safety committee meeting, during a very passionate conversation, that everyone's comments were civil and impassioned, but civil. And I appreciate that. I thank you for everyone's insights. Also, I'd like to welcome Mr. Marker back. I'm glad you are back this evening, so welcome back. With that, Mr. President, I will pass.
Thank you, and Mr. Marmy.
Thank you, Mr. President. First thing I need to do is call a finance committee meeting for the 16th of September. I want to thank everybody for coming out, voicing your opinions. I think that a lot can be solved with communication. I believe we have a little bit of a communication problem, and I'm not talking about the word appurtenances. So, what I mean by that is we have attempted to get all the groups together in the city to try to come up with solutions, and it failed. Everybody wanted to stay in their own silos. They didn't want to work together. We spend money on homeless. CDBG spends money annually every single year. A lot of the organizations that were here this evening are recipients of that. We spend thousands upon thousands of dollars helping people with roof repairs, helping them with repairs to their home, in which it keeps them in their home so they don't become homeless. This young lady right here in the front row is a perfect example of all. If somebody wants help, Newark has services and she can succeed. Others can succeed. There are many stories like that. It is not illegal to be homeless. Illegal activities by those who are homeless is just as illegal as illegal activities for those that are not homeless. We need to be able to protect our citizens in our community. We need to have tools for our police and for our property maintenance and for other parts of our city to be able to protect citizens from those that are not good citizens. Those that are, we have assistance that we can help them with. And it's mainly the social services agencies within our community. It's not our city who provides that. Are there things that can improve? Yes, we can always make improvements. But the first step is working together. We've attempted it. And I will state again, it failed. The same folks that are stating that they want solutions, we have tried that. We have had meetings. We have had community leaders who have come together, who ended up being scrutinized by those in attendance. We have tried and we have failed. We can talk all we want about protecting those that are homeless, and I agree 100% that we need to help those who want help and need help. There are those that choose not to seek any help. They do not want any help, and therefore there's a difference in that. We don't have an exorbitant amount of funds available to just take care of all the problems by just throwing money at the problems. So these are things that need to be addressed, as well as all the things that were communicated earlier. The mayor indicated our budget and the differences between our community and other communities. We do a lot with the little bit of money that we get. We work with private-public partnerships like the ice arena. The money goes there because we are in a partnership with the ice arena and we are owners of that facility in order to make sure that we have facilities like that within our community. But it's being run by a private organization, so we don't have to pay taxpayer dollars in order to run that. I'm proud of this city and what we do. I love the way that our city looks. It's improving every single day. We still have work to do though. I don't think there's anybody up here that thinks we're finished yet. We can always do better. And we always listen. But we have to communicate, and not just when an ordinance comes through. We need to make sure our safety forces have the tools to be able to take care and protect our citizens. It is not about just throwing everybody in jail. That is not what this is about. But that's what those out in our community are trying to pin on this legislation. This is about protecting everyone from those who are not doing what is good for our community. There are many that are doing fine and that are trying to improve. We will help them. They will get help. And I'm not even going to take the credit. This body can't take the credit. It's the organizations within our community that provide those services that deserve all the credit. We're able to fund some of them by giving them some of our grant money. And we love what they do, and that's why we support them. I look forward to working with folks with solutions. I don't look forward to combating with folks who just want to argue. Because we have tried that before and literally it failed. So I hope that those that say they want solutions are part of that. Because I can tell you, I know there are folks up here that attempted to be a part of that. The young lady, Holly Watson, I really appreciate what you said. Because there's drug issues and concerns with some of these homeless camps. There's human trafficking going on. There's prostitution going on. And these are things that we need to protect some of the folks that are inside those circles. They need our protection just as well. So when we say that we're protecting our citizens, some of them are the homeless that we need to help protect. But if we can't get in, if we have no right to be in, if our police can't go forward and be a part of it, then they can't be a part of the solution. They can't protect those folks because they're not allowed. So yes, it is. It's a scale, and we try to not to tip the scales too far one way or the other. But we need both. We need solutions, but we also need enforcement. It is not illegal to be homeless. It is illegal to do illegal activities, whether you are homeless or have a home within our community. And with that, I pass.
Thank you, Mr. Martin. Mr. Neely?
All right, thank you, Mr. President. Yeah, this is a tough one. I do appreciate, I'm new to this. I don't have the experience with Doug Mormey. I appreciate everybody coming out. You know, at the end of the day, we're all trying to do what we think is best for our citizens. And, you know, the thing you learn quickly is whatever decision you make, left or right, you're gonna get upset about half the people. So at the end of the day, we have to do what we think is best for the citizens. And that's what's gonna guide our vote. And, you know, we appreciate you guys coming out and giving us all your opinions. It doesn't end here, trust us, it'll continue, you know, during this process, getting different opinions. You know, we want Newark to be safe for everybody. And we do appreciate you coming out, Spencer. The rest of them come back on, but welcome back. And with that, I will pass.
Thank you, Mr. Rapp.
Thank you. I'll call the service committee meeting for the 16th. Well, back with Mr. Spencer, I'll join the crowd and that being like. This, Colin Smith, if you have information on other cities, documentation, on what other cities are doing, I'd be interested in you sharing that. As far as the situation we're talking about, we're gonna reconvene in the safety committee. And there's not a whole lot I can add to that. It's a frustrating situation. We are certainly doing all that we can do, all that we know to do. And I mean, Doug and I, we've been battling this for years. It's not when we're not doing anything, it's certainly not that we don't care, but we're doing what we can. That'll pass.
Thank you, Mr. Barker.
Thank you, Mr. President. Want to just thank everybody for the welcome back this evening. It was quite a meeting to come back on council for. I can't say much better than what Mr. Marmee said. I agree with 100% of how he spoke on this issue. I do want to tell a quick story. We had an issue that this ordinance would have helped to combat last year. We had, and the law director, if I remember this, we had a woman over in the East End who had called me and said, the homeless are sleeping over in a tent on not my property. It says it's owned by the city and the county. And I had a cookout with my grandkids. And they suddenly came out from nowhere and ransacked our family cookout. And now my grandkids won't come over to my house anymore. I can't afford to put up a fence. I can't afford to move. But they're not on my property, so what do I do? And the woman was scared to even call the police for fear of retribution. And I worked with the law director's office at the time to figure out, is there some way we can help her? There really wasn't, our hands were tied. And I think back to that tonight, and I appreciate everyone coming out and making us aware of how you feel. That's what this forum is for. But I also see the other side of it where a grandmother was trying to have her grandkids over for a simple family cookout. And they are scared to do that now. And you shouldn't be scared in your own home or on your own property to do something with your family. So I agree. There's a lot more discussion to be had. I look forward to the safety committee discussion and hearing that. I see both sides of it. But also at the end of the day, it's a safety thing. And we have to make sure all citizens are safe. One thing I would like just to add is this Saturday is the Light Night Cruise in here in downtown. It's an annual event. Downtown will be full of classic cars for most of the day. It's gonna be a great time, good weather. Hopefully you can get out there with your families. And with that, I will pass.
Thank you, Ms. Burr. Ms. White.
Okay, thank you, Mr. President. Spencer, thank you. Welcome back. Ms. Foltz, is she still here? Mr. Norman? Medlock? I was wondering during their testimony if they had considered the transit, and honestly, I don't know if that would be an opportunity for our high school students as minors. I don't know, and maybe we could make it an opportunity through some assistance until, I know that bus drivers are very limited right now. I understand that as well. And so there may be exploring other alternatives. Maybe there's something we could do to bring safety to those high school kids. I echo Mr. Marmee as well, and Mr. Barker. it's a difficult situation but with everyone coming, it's great to hear some alternative solutions. I mean, everyone doesn't think of everything. Obviously, we still have the problem. But there is that balance that we do have to maintain. We're keeping everyone safe. And there's a silent majority that didn't show up tonight, much to Spencer's testimony. It was the victims, those who have been harmed or experienced great loss or even have become prisoners in their own homes. And it is a difficult situation. There are some that won't let their children outside anymore. There are some that won't let them go into parks anymore. Children have had to, some neighborhoods have had to incorporate a whole different lifestyle, not only because of the presence of unknown persons, but because the theft of their belongings. Bicycling isn't a thing anymore because their stuff's been stolen. Their bicycles are gone. Children's bikes are gone. Even the small ones are gone. And a resident told me about that. Very quickly, a person had, she was in a tent. She had her bike stolen. She was all fix it. And I watched her and she went up the street and within, I didn't see where she went, within 15 minutes, she came back with a brand new bike. And that was very difficult. I'm sure for that family. But regardless, we want to do what's best for everyone. And safety is one of the primary functions of the city. We need to care about everyone. And so thank you for your insight and wisdom on that. Thank you. And we are working to do our very best. I've gone into several encampments, tried to help people get out if they choose to. Most have chose to stay and those have not, some have not responded. So we just keep working. Thank you.
Mr. Shute.
Thank you, Mr. President. I don't want to waste anybody's time by repeating anything that's been said. Everybody has done a pretty good job, I think, of stating various viewpoints. I will just say that I appreciate you all being here. I know you've taken time out of your lives to be here, and it's it is a difficult conversation to be sure, and it is also pretty neat to see a community engaged in this way, whatever the topic is, and citizens willing to share your views and help guide us in the legislative process. So I appreciate you being here, sharing your thoughts. And with that, Mr. President, I will pass.
Thank you. Our next meeting will be September 16th. Welcome back, Spencer. And go Browns on Sunday. And do I have a motion by Mr. Cox, second by Mr. Hauser? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Oh, yeah, the safety committee. The safety committees, will be starting here in a couple of minutes. Okay. No problem.